Today's episode of Darkness Radio is brought to you by Factor Meals. Eating better is easy with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to go in just 2 minutes. Head to factormeals.com/darkness50 and use the code darkness50 to get 50% off. That's darkness50 at factormeals.com/darkness50 to get 50% off. It's a Wednesday. That means just one thing. It's time now for Supernatural News and Parashare. And as promised, we bring in the intelligent, the funny, the articulate, the everything I'm not, the co-hostess today, Jessica Freeburg. Hi, Jessica.
Oh, so much pressure now to sound like I know what I'm talking about.
No. Of course you know what you're talking about. We're right in your wheelhouse. We're right where you live. We're talking about the paranormal and supernatural today. So, yeah.
My favorite.
There you go. We got lots of stuff going on today, Jess. We're starting it off today. We're talking about UFOs. You know, the U.S. government hosed everybody at the end of last week. They figured they'd do it on Friday when everybody was going out for the weekend and maybe heading up to the cabin or, you know, to reopen cabins or... I know people are like, reopen cabins in March, Tim. Have you taken a look at the lakes lately, folks? There's no ice on lakes anymore in the middle of March.
They should be going out to the lake or the ice houses and fishing. What is happening right now?
Right. If you have an ice house on a lake right now, it's not there.
No, it's under.
No. In fact, I think
down on the bottom.
It's one of the earliest ice out dates on record for Lake Minnetonka or something like that. I think March 11th. The last time March 11th was an ice out date on Lake Minnetonka, it was like in the 1800s or something like that. It's something insane.
But I don't want to complain about it. It's beautiful. I went for the nicest walk with my son and the dogs this evening, you know, like right after dinner. It was so nice.
Yeah. It's gorgeous out.
Weird.
Yeah, it's gorgeous out right now. I told you before the show, I had a little buddy who came up and said hi.
I know, it's so cute. Your little chipmunks are back.
I know. I haven't seen. I know Spud's been awake for quite some time. He's been awake since January, but I haven't actually physically seen him. I've just been running him out treats. He has an entryway to his den in the garage, like in the brick. So it used to be Wickett's entryway, but I think they had some sort of weird chipmunk war, and Spud won.
I like Spud.
Yeah. Spud went from being the runt of the litter to becoming the warlord. He became Conan the Barbarian out in the garage.
He's the king of the castle.
He is, yes. So now he earned it too, because he was missing a bit of his nose for a bit. No. I think that was in the fight with Wicket. And he ended up missing half his tail, and he's a spunky kid, that's for sure.
I didn't know they were so violent.
Oh yeah, they fight each other. They fight each other over everything. Yeah. So but today I was going out to get the mail. It was probably about an hour before we recorded. Nice day here, by the way, in Minnesota. Just a beautiful
day. Nice.
Yeah. So I stepped outside to go get the mail, and I'm about a third of the way up my sidewalk. And I stopped, and the sidewalk right in front of my house. And I stopped and I turned because I thought I felt something moving, like out of the corner of my eye. And I turned to my left, and here I see the cutest little chipmunk face looking back at me. And he kind of tilts his head, and he comes running towards me. Now, he could be rabid. I don't know, folks. But he ends up running towards me. Then he stops halfway and he kind of looks at me just to make sure it's me. I don't know if I've lost that much weight since he saw me last, or what he had to readjust his eyes, or what it was. But then he finished the run like right up to maybe, and I'm telling you, Jess, it couldn't have been more than a couple inches away from my foot. And he looks up at me and just kind of like, "Hi, buddy." And just a kind of an acknowledgement that I'm back. You know, I wasn't very far away at all.
Thanks for the treat.
Yeah, thanks for the treats. Then I had this whole monologue with him, literally a monologue, because if I start hearing chipmunk voices, I'm having Jessica commit me to an asylum. And I just, went through the thing that like a resort owner would do. Treats are over here. This is over there. I missed you, buddy. And at that point, I think he thought I was a little much, and then he ran back to his den. So, but yeah, Spud's awake and Logan's awake, which is, I told Jess I had to apologize because I actually I named my youngest after her son. So there you go.
Your youngest after my oldest.
That's right. There you go. So 2 of the 3 now I've seen. So Wicket's the only one I haven't seen yet, and I'm a little worried about the old man.
Oh, that's not good.
No, I'm waiting to see if Wicket survived the winter.
You're going to have to keep us posted.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to be worried about him.
Yeah. I'm hoping he didn't, and I'm hoping he didn't run off to another yard. Maybe he ran off to the neighbor's yard. We're noticing, too, that they migrated to the backyard for some reason.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Change of scenery.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe they're building condos or something out in the backyard. I have no idea. But so I don't know. I'm hoping Wicket made it through the winter. So we'll keep you posted. I know you kids are somehow concerned about my chipmunk debacle or whatever you want to call it. But let's get into today's supernatural news. As I was telling you, we got lots in store today, Jess. Here's the deal. Not only do we have the alien news coming up, and there's a lot, by the way, our good friend Uri Geller is back to call BS on the government. So we'll talk about that in today's program. We have the scariest AI news yet. You will hide in your basement for years after I tell you this one story later on today. Nightmare fuel later on today in the show. We've got haunted doll and haunted toy news coming up later on in the program. And of course, we've got a story akin to the Winchester Mystery House in somebody else's house. They're having the same kind of phenomena. We'll talk about that as well.
I love all of this. I can't wait, except for the AI thing. I'm a little scared, but I'm ready for it.
There you go. And we've got some other spooky hauntings as well today. We've also got some Parashare for you today as well. So you guys have stepped up. We asked for your letters, your emails, and we still need your voice notes, however. So you can do that by going to darknessradioshow.com, clicking on that blue button. It's a boo button as well. The blue button, and leaving your stories. You've got 2 minutes to do so. And if you need 2 more minutes, just click on the blue button again. You get 2 more minutes. I'll stitch it together. I'll air it here on the show. By the way, today's show is brought to you by Factor. For 50% off your meals, just go to factormeals.com/darkness50 and get 50% off those meals. We'll tell you more about it in just a bit. And they've got some exciting things too. Jess, we all got hosed by the U.S. government on Friday. You people came forward. You told the government you had exciting news about the aliens you'd seen, the things you'd seen in the sky, the bright lights, the things landing on your lawn, the thing we saw in Vegas, the whistleblowers that came forward. Guess what? The government said it was all bullshit.
No.
Yep. Friday.
How could they do that?
Because you know what? The shadow government got to them, I'm convinced.
They lie to us.
Well, you know what? I've said this. I said this more than a few weeks ago. I said, you're going to find out that this big committee, AARO, is going to do these hearings. And eventually they're going to come forward and they're going to make up some big excuse as to why they can't, 1, release more videos, 2, release more evidence, and 3, they're not going to call forward not only some of the most renowned UFO specialists in the field, which they haven't done 1, and 2, they're not going to call forward abductees and experiencers. And they haven't called forward 1 and asked for evidence. They haven't asked for implants. They haven't asked for anything that would substantiate that alien life exists or that people have been harmed by craft.
It seemed like we were going in the direction that they were going to finally start owning up to some of this, right? The hearings that we had previously, they were telling us, yeah, there's stuff, right? Did I dream that? That happened, didn't it?
Well, you got the dog and pony show part of it. which was, oh yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We want answers, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe there are one or two senators that actually meant it, but whether it was actually going to happen or not, that's debatable.
Yeah, I think they think we can't handle the truth. You know what I mean?
I tend to agree with that.
Yeah.
I do, because you look at the way the American people react to things, and you may say, well, Tim, that's overblown. Think about it. I mean, think about how we're handling things now in society. We handle things very violently. We don't handle things well.
Especially not things that scare us, right? And that's like one of those things where we're fascinated by it, but it's scary to think that there's something else out there that could be, coming in our rooms and abducting us and implanting things. And if there was confirmation of that, I think it would make people very frightened, and then there would be kind of an upheaval.
And I'm not talking about even physically violent. Now, let's look at, for example, in America. I'm just talking America here. I'm not talking the rest of the world. Look at what we do to people we put on pedestals, not necessarily famous Hollywood types. I'm just talking about people who achieve a slight bit of fame. We love to put people on pedestals, but the minute we put them there, boy, do we want to see them fall. We love the fall. We love to chase them, and then we love to tear them down and see them fall. And it's a sport. It's a sport like any other sport you watch on television. We love scandals. We love to see them get in trouble. So what do we do when something comes from the heavens that has technology, that has an ability that's bigger and greater than ourselves? And maybe they come down and say they want to help us, Chess. Sure, we let them help us for a little while. But then when they prove to be bigger and greater than us, boy, don't we want to see them fall?
Yeah, totally. You have a really good point. It's true.
And maybe that's what the government is protecting here. Maybe they're not protecting us. Maybe they're protecting a benevolent race that's giving us technology, that's giving us these advancements.
From us.
Yes, and they're protecting them from us.
Yeah.
Maybe they know that we can't handle it. They know that we're the children in this scenario. And we can't handle this.
Yeah, it's true. That actually resonates a lot. So
it's something to think about, folks. Because why go through the rigmarole of setting up these meetings, these arrow meetings, and talk about, let's call forth your evidence and see what we have here, and why do they come down and do these quote-unquote experiments, or why do people have these run-ins, or what do you think is actually going on? All you're going to get is just played around with. And there will be speculation, and there will be talk, and more evidence that's coughed up, and people will watch, and all you'll get is just that. But you'll never get down to the truth.
I was going to say, we're never going to get a straight answer.
No.
Not in this lifetime.
Because someone in this, and think about this, there's motive for all this. There's money to be made, there's product to be had, and there's an agreement that's in place somewhere, if this exists.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to use my skeptical mind here and say, if it exists. If there's truly nothing, then they're telling you the truth. There's truly nothing. But if there's something, then there's something to be protected here. And that's why we have government, to protect us. And sometimes you don't have to know how the sausage is made. Sometimes you don't want to know what's in a hot dog in order to eat it.
I was just going to say those exact words.
Right.
Just give me the hot dog. Don't talk about what goes into it. Just let me eat it in peace.
That's right. Sometimes a hot dog is great because you don't know how they make hot dogs, and you don't want to know how they make hot dogs. I love hot dogs. I don't want to know how they're made. And I love McRib, and I don't want you people to keep emailing me week after week to tell me how a McRib's made. I love yoga mats. I'll slap barbecue sauce on them all goddamn day long and eat them. They're wonderful.
Just let us live in our ignorant bliss.
That's right. So let's get to what the U.S. government actually said. That new report was released on Friday of last week. The government looking into a huge increase in the number of UFO sightings in the 50s and 60s was explained to what people were really seeing. The government sought to explain away a vast array of reported sightings of UFOs in a new report. In the 50s and 60s, a whole host of apparent alien sightings from members of the public had been passed on to the government, and it's now been revealed what people were actually seeing. The Pentagon report that was submitted to Congress on Friday, March 8th, is part of the U.S. government's continued efforts to examine apparent sightings of UAP, or unidentified anomalous phenomena, more commonly known as UFOs. Researchers now believe they can explain why so many reports of UFO sightings were recorded from the 1950s and 60s. Brace yourself here, Jess. It's going to be a funny one. They believe technological advancements are the explanation, with high-altitude balloons, that's in quotes, causing a rush of UFO speculation when one crashed near Roswell in 1947.
Okay.
High-altitude balloons.
Okay.
Yeah. And more than half of the UFO sightings investigated were deemed to be U.S. reconnaissance flights, one of which was the Canadian VZ-9AV Avracar fighter bomber, a circular craft designed to take off and land vertically. So they're saying that was a U.S. reconnaissance flight, not a UFO. Now, the report highlighted how public interest in UFOs has increased the credibility of some sightings in the public consciousness. It said the proliferation of television programs, books, movies, and the vast amount of internet and social media content centered on UAP-related topics most likely has influenced the public conversation on this topic and reinforced these beliefs with some sections of the population. According to a poll carried out by Gallup in 2021, over 40% of Americans think that alien spacecraft have visited Earth, up from 33% in 2 years. UAP sightings in the U.S. are currently reported at a rate of 50 to 100 per month. That's per month, Jess.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now, there were other things that were said in that report as well, including that current day sightings are everything from aircraft from other countries, experimental aircraft that we're using in this country, to weather balloons and all the other rigmarole that you're used to hearing. I mean, every excuse you've ever heard in a military report was listed in that report. It was almost sickening to watch it on my television screen as I watched it. In fact, I almost threw my drink at the screen when I saw it. I thought about playing the report here on the show, and I said, you know what? It's just too maddening to listen to it again, because you guys have heard it over and over and over and over again. Then I see this news story from the 7th from Micah Hanks. This was one day, Jess, one day before the government releases their report. And it's this. A UAP incident over the Gulf of Mexico revealed by a U.S. congressman confirmed in a newly declassified file and images with it. One day before the report comes out.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
Talk about one hand not knowing what the other's doing. Micah reports that new details involving a military pilot UAP incident over the Gulf of Mexico revealed by a U.S. representative last summer have now come to light following the release of documents in response to a Freedom of Information Act request. The incident, first described by Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida last year during a widely viewed congressional hearing on unidentified anomalous phenomena, reportedly occurred on January 26th of 2023 during a test mission operated out of Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. Now, additional confirmation of the incident has been obtained by Abbas Michael Darramzi is who it is, through documents he obtained through a FOIA request, copies of which were subsequently made available by researcher John Greenwald at his website, The Black Vault. Now, John's been on this program before. I want to try and get him on again here sometime soon to kind of talk about some of these documents that have come out recently. Although most of the information in the documents is redacted, a declassified summary of the incident is provided, along with a sketch depicting the appearance of one of the UAPs the pilot encountered. Tell you what, we're going to put this in the description of the program today so you can take a look at this sketch, which when you see it, it kind of looks like a more rounded version of the Millennium Falcon. It doesn't have the little pod coming off the side where the pilots would sit.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's the shape of the Millennium Falcon. Huh. According to the declassified summary, the United States Air Force pilots successfully obtained a radar lock on 4 unidentified objects and subsequently obtained a screen capture of one of the UAPs, the only one with which visual contact was made. The declassified summary, as well as the sketch provided to DeRamsey in the FOIA release, both depict an object resembling a NASA Apollo-era space capsule, which possessed a rounded reddish-orange illuminated bottom portion, while the upper section was described as a 3-dimensional cone shape, which featured what resembled gunmetal gray segmented panels. The object, referred to as UAP-1 in the summary, was observed operating at an altitude of around 16,000 feet, while 2 of the other objects detected solely on radar were observed at 17,000 and 18,000 feet above ground level. The 4th object was reportedly lost from radar, making any estimates of its altitude impossible for the pilot to obtain. Although the above data on altitude was obtained, the summary states that no airspeeds were noted for the unidentified objects, although they did not outpace the pilot, who was able to close to within 4,000 feet of UAP-1, at which time the aircraft's radar began to malfunction and remain disabled, which is highly unusual. Post-mission investigation revealed that a circuit breaker had triggered, the brief declassified summary concludes, but that maintenance technicians were unable to conclusively diagnose the fault. Sometime after the events described in the summary, Gates was reportedly shown the image obtained by the pilot during a visit to Eglin Air Force Base. Several months ago, my office received a protected disclosure from Eglin Air Force Base indicating there was a UAP incident that required my attention, Gates later wrote in a post on X. Gates said that after learning of the incident, he requested a briefing on the situation and traveled to Eglin, accompanied by Representatives Tim Burchett and Anna Paulina Luna, both Republicans from Tennessee and Florida, during that visit. He said, "We were initially denied access to images, radar, and conversation with all members of the flight crew." Interesting. However, Gates was eventually allowed to review the photograph obtained by the pilot involved in the UAP encounter. Gates said that he was the only one who was shown the UAP image at the time, and that he had an opportunity to speak with the pilot, who told him the objects were observed on radar flying in a diamond formation. The image was of a UAP that I am not able to attach to any human capability from the United States or from any of our adversaries, Gates said of the image he was shown. Describing the incident during a hearing held on the Subcommittee on National Security, the Border, and Foreign Affairs last July, Gates also said that he had observed a radar sequence obtained by personnel at Eglin during the incident that further corroborated the sighting. Despite the object's superficial resemblance to an Apollo spacecraft, the description of the incident provided in the newly released FOIA documents appears to describe 4 objects flying in formation, 3 of which were detected on radar and maintain altitudes close to 16,000, 17,000, and 18,000 feet respectively, and for a duration long enough that imagery of the nearest object, UAP-1, was obtained. Such circumstances would appear to rule out any conventional object resembling a known spacecraft during re-entry, for which details would likely have been easily accessible. In a posting on X, writer Mick West surmised that it's impossible to rule out that it was just a balloon or 4 balloons. It might also be an alien spaceship, but I'd put balloon at number 1 with the current data, West added. It's always a balloon, isn't it?
Don't we have some kind of record of these balloons that are up and out there? I mean, I feel like We're always saying it's balloons, but don't we know what balloons are up in the sky? We should know that they're there.
Yes, the National Weather Service has records of every single balloon, when they're launched, where they are, and where they should be. So if these are weather balloons, they absolutely know where they are.
Yeah, that's just not a good explanation.
No. Apart from balloons, re-entry capsules, or alien spacecraft, another object that the pilot sketches of UAP-1 bears a passing resemblance to was described by 3 witnesses decades ago during a harrowing encounter near Dayton, Texas in 1980. On the evening of December 29th of that year, 51-year-old Betty Cash was driving home from dinner with her friend 57-year-old Vicki Landrum and Landrum's 7-year-old grandson Colby when they observed a bright light in the distance. As the trio approached the stretch of roadway where the light appeared to be hovering, what they initially mistook for a plane on approach for landing in Houston was revealed to be something else entirely. A description of the object later offered by UFO chronicler Jerome Clark, based on accounts provided by the witnesses, described it as intensely bright and a dull metallic silver, shaped like a huge upright diamond about the size of the Dayton Water Tower, with flames being emitted from the bottom of the object, flaring outward to create the effect of a large cone. Clark's description certainly seems to bear some similarity to the UAP-1 object recounted by the U.S. Air Force pilot from the January 2023 incident. In particular, similarities arise from the gunmetal and gray appearance of the UAP-1 compared with the intensely bright and dull metallic silver description of the Cash Landrum object. Additionally, the appearance of blurry air with no smoke observed near the base of UAP-1 during the 2023 incident, below an area where orange-reddish light or coloration was noted by the observing pilot, does sound reminiscent of the apparent propulsion mechanism that Cash and Landrum described seeing as the object they encountered bobbed up and down above the highway ahead of them. All very interesting stuff.
Fascinating and frustrating at the same time.
Right. One more detail here. Following their sighting, Cash and the Landrums all began to complain of health issues, the worst of which had been suffered by Cash, who had stepped outside her new Oldsmobile Cutlass for several minutes to observe the object until, according to the witnesses, it was accompanied by a small fleet of Boeing CH-47 Chinook helicopters that surrounded their object to escort it from away from the scene. Cash and Landrum later sued the U.S. federal government for $22 million with the aid of attorney Peter Gersten. However, after several years, the case was dismissed because the witnesses were unable to provide any conclusive evidence that the U.S. military possessed such an aircraft or technology, nor could the 23 helicopters the witnesses observed be associated with any confirmed military activities on the night in question. It's all very interesting and confusing things.
It is.
Yeah.
And again, with all those helicopters, there would be some record of where they were, just like with the balloons, all these giant air anomaly things that we put up in the air. It's not like we just have weather balloons in our backyard and we're just letting them off randomly.
Well, the helicopters could be hidden a little easier than the balloons. The helicopters might have been top secret. They might have been black helicopters and would never be put on record. But
why are they so secretive about everything?
But the weather balloons would be on record, and they would have some sort of record somewhere that these would have been launched from somewhere. Where they would have necessarily ended up may not be, but you could track simply from launch points and where they ended up based on wind speeds, direction, and trajectory. You could guess that, weather balloons from a certain point might have ended up in that particular area.
Interesting stuff.
Just saying. Okay, so our good friend Uri Geller is back in the news, saying that the Pentagon's UFO report is, quote, steaming bullshit, as he himself has seen aliens, Jess. So take it with a bending spoonful of sugar if you'd like. See what I did there? A U.S. Defense Chief's report in which they claim they found no evidence that aliens exist, is a massive pile of hot, steaming bullshit, according to Uri Geller. That's his quote.
Don't mince words, Yuri.
No, I think Yuri's just giving it to you the way he feels. The legendary spoonbender claims he's held a piece of UFO in his hand. God, I hope he's not talking about an actual alien there, if you know what I mean. Holding a little piece of an alien. At a NASA space research lab 50 years ago, after he was recruited by the CIA and senior officials as he impressed them with his mind control ability. As a result, he said he knew a 63-page Pentagon report published on Friday, which dismissed close encounters dating back 80 years as the misidentification of common objects and phenomena was pure organic and unadulterated bullcrap. Boy, I think he shouldn't hold back the way he feels.
I
Jess.
don't. Yeah, I don't. Just tell us what you think, bud.
I think holding down that type of rage could cause, I don't know, an aneurysm at the very least, or a massive heart attack, or I really think he should let that anger go. The 77-year-old Geller said he was absolutely quivering and fuming with anger at what he said was a U.S. government cover-up of UFOs, a.k.a. unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, that ranked alongside Watergate. No, really, tell us, Yuri, how you feel. The Mystic Rage, their latest official report on UFOs or UAPs, fired off by their supposedly, don't make me laugh, he says in parentheses, unbiased, totally above board and truth-seeking all-domain anomaly resolution office, or ARROW, has just been published, and believe me, it certainly hasn't hit the bullseye when it comes to getting close to the truth. That's what he went on to say. Instead, all it is delivered is a massive pile of hot, steaming bullshit. The whole thing is total BS, Yuri went on to say. Boy, he's just fired up.
I'm sensing a theme. It's BS.
I think so.
Hot and steaming.
Hot and steaming. Available at Wendy's right now in the $5 bag.
Gross.
No, well, you don't want to see how it's made, Jess. I'm just saying.
Don't tell me.
That's right. It's the most obvious cover-up since the Soviet government tried to pretend nothing had gone wrong at Chernobyl, is what Yuri went on to say. In fact, he says, I would say it ranks right alongside the Watergate scandal, or the time President Bill Clinton told the whole world he didn't have sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky.
He is like pulling them all out right now.
Well, he shouldn't pull it out in front of Monica. The report claims that there is no evidence that the U.S. government had encountered alien life, and that a mass of historical UFO sightings, including a sudden spike of sightings in the 1960s, were actually probably all caused by the testing of advanced U.S. spy planes and space technology. More quotes from Yuri. He says, what a load of ridiculous BS. I know the findings of this report aren't worth the paper they're printed on. Every conclusion outlined in this report is pure organic and unadulterated bullcrap. This whole thing is utter codswallop. New word for you.
Codswallop?
Codswallop.
Never heard of it, but I like it.
I do too. Codswallop.
Codswallop.
Like the fish or the piece. Codswallop. I have to add that one to the vocabulary.
I feel like I can say that in front of my kids and not feel bad about it. Codswallop. It's a swear word, but it's not.
The other one I heard the other day, and I totally forgot about it. It was when David Letterman had Norm Macdonald on after he got fired from Saturday Night Live by Don Ohlmeyer.
Yeah.
For picking on O.J. Simpson too much. He fired him from Weekend Update. And he said, Norm, quit being such a quisling. Quisling. And I thought, oh, that's a good one too. And he said, I'm going to need a dictionary during break because I don't know what a quisling is.
Never heard it before.
So they gave him a dictionary, and I don't want to misquote as to what a quisling is. So let me bring it up here real quick. And I'll tell you exactly what a quisling is, because I thought, what is a quisling? But David Letterman always had a superior sense of vocabulary. So he would pull out a word just to play around with it, and he'd use it as a mnemonic device in comedy, right? So he'd just pull it up and, so to speak, he'd pull it up and play around with it, and he would use it as a trigger to get you to laugh. Okay. So he would use the word quisling. And here's what it means. A person who betrays their own country by aiding an invading enemy, often serving later in a puppet government, or a fifth columnist.
Wow, it's like he was reading the dictionary. That's a great word I've never heard before.
Right. So in other words, he was calling Norm a traitor. Stop being a traitor to your own beliefs. So in other words, he sat there for a year and a half picking on OJ and telling OJ jokes and sticking to his beliefs. And then he gets on there and talks about what a nice guy Don Ohlmeyer is.
Yeah.
And he says, Norm, quit being a quisling. Quit being a traitor to your own beliefs. Fire off on the guy.
Yeah.
And then Dave's calling him a fatso and all this other stuff. And he's like, he's just a fat creep. And, he doesn't know anything about comedy. He's a bean counter. Go after him. He said, we'll give you a job doing the news over here.
Yeah.
And I thought, quisling. And it's not spelled with a Z, it's spelled with an S. So it's Quisling, quisling.
Okay, I'm learning so much. And I just Googled codswallop. That's actually a word too. It's in the dictionary.
What does that mean?
It's a British informal word used to mean words or ideas that are foolish or untrue. So it's not a swear word. I was kind of excited. I thought it was a swear word. I'm disappointed that it's not a cuss. I'm going to use it like one though.
So if
codswallop.
So if you're a quisling dealing out codswallow, boy, you got issues.
You're a mess.
You really are.
You're a hot, steaming pile of something bad that I can't say.
Bullshit. Just go ahead and say it. We're into it already. We should have told people at the beginning of the show that this was coming. Geller also went on to describe how he has shown recovered alien tech at the Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland in 1974 by aerospace engineer Werner von Braun, a former Nazi rocket builder recruited to work for the U.S. government on its space program. After Geller used his will to bend von Braun's wedding ring to convince him of his powers, the pioneer opened his safe to reveal a mysterious piece of metal, which he said was a piece of UFO that crashed to Earth. Yuri went on, then he took me to an underground storage unit housed on a NASA base where I was shown frozen alien bodies. Please, whatever you do, do not, I repeat, do not fall for this bullshit AARO report.
I wonder how many times he used the word bullshit.
172,468.
You counted.
And a half. Mm-hmm. He goes on to say it's a blatant attempt to bury the recent revelations and progress that has been made by all the brave whistleblowers and eyewitnesses who have come forward to tell the truth. He couldn't have stated it any better. I mean, sans the swear words, but yeah, Uri Geller's right on.
I agree with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. So, I mean, he sums up what we've been saying so far for the last 35 minutes, pretty much on the nuts.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's move on to another UFO story before we head to break here. A British UFO expert has spoken of the spooky moment he summoned an alien spaceship.
He summoned it?
Summoned it.
Wow.
And he says weird forces tried to stop him.
Weird forces.
Yeah. We did a UFO summoning experiment on the Jericho cruise. It worked.
It did work?
It did work. We got 3 ships to appear.
Stop it.
Serious. We've told the story here.
Oh my gosh.
We told the story here on the air. I'll tell you off air, Jess.
Okay.
For the sake of time. I'll tell you off air. In a new documentary on Amazon Prime, filmmaker Mark Christopher Lee analyzes several instances of fifth kind encounters between humans and existing extraterrestrial beings. The film investigates the so-called CE5, or Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, protocols that have been developed by UFO experts like Dr. Stephen Greer, which supposedly allows people to contact and summon aliens and UFOs. After hearing about the phenomenon, Mr. Lee decided to record the rituals, asking friends and fellow UFO enthusiasts to show one in action. Gathering on Woodcock Hill in Hertfordshire, a group of alien hunters attempted to summon an otherworldly craft. Mr. Lee explained, "It was an interesting evening, and obviously we saw a lot of planes and stars being a clear night, but we got to relax and hang out and talk UFOs with friends. But weirdly, as soon as we finished filming for the evening and started putting the cameras away, someone spotted something high up that wasn't a star or a plane. Luckily, we managed to get filming again and caught it on camera." The film also encountered several unexplained setbacks. Co-producer Guy Thompson was unable to attend the filming due to a combination of unforeseen factors, including ill health, his car breaking down, and trains being canceled. Mr. Thompson said, "It was weird as I was all set up to come in from Salisbury, where I lived to film in Hertfordshire. I came over with this unsettling sensation and nausea. I decided to push through it and got into my car, which had recently been serviced, but it wouldn't start. This increased my anxiety, but I really wanted to get there. So I decided to take the train. But once I got to the station, all trains to London were canceled. I definitely think weird forces were at work." It's not the first time Mr. Lee has been in the news. In August of last year, the filmmaker called on the King to force the UK government to tell the truth about what the UK establishment knows about alien life. It came at the same time as the U.S. Congress Security Panel was told how politicians had been kept in the dark for decades about UFOs and UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. And on the back of this, London filmmaker Mark Christopher Lee said that Charles should be putting pressure on Rishi Sunak to let the public know about what evidence there is of extraterrestrial life. The Minister of Defense used to record sightings but stopped in 2009, claiming it had no defense value and the workload was becoming unmanageable after reports for the year reached over 520. For decades, the idea of aliens and flying saucers has inspired theorists and filmmakers and led to countless pranks. Mr. Lee said King Charles has an interest in UFOs handed down to him by his father, the late Prince Philip. "I'm calling on our king to put pressure on the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, to release the truth about what the UK knows about UFOs to the public." Interesting. So, according to this documentary, he can summon these things.
I love it. I want to summon something cool like that.
You have to be careful.
I would think so. I mean, you never know what you're going to summon. Like, you don't want to summon, like a demon or something, for example. But I don't know. I have had a UFO encounter when I was a child that was really fascinating. And I've always wanted to see that again, like something like that. Mm-hmm. But it always ends up being something not exciting. Like this past summer, my kids and I were outside and we thought there were UFOs in the sky, and it turned out to be just drones. The police were clearly searching for someone in our neighborhood, but they were flying all over and they just felt like they kept coming, and there were like 8 of them in the sky, and my kids and I were running up and down the street watching them. And at one point I ran inside to get the camera and I was like, "Don't get abducted without me."
Boy, that's wishful thinking, isn't it?
Then I sent the video to my friend whose husband owns a drone company, and she goes, "Oh, those are whatever kind of drone that he uses." And I'm like, he's like, "That's like $15,000 worth of drones in the sky."
Jeez.
I'm like, well, they must be looking for a criminal in my neighborhood, and I'm just running around out there barefoot with my children.
Yelling at the drones, "Take me, take me." The drone's like, "Take what?"
Yeah.
Drone operator's like, "No, not today, lady." Oh my God. I'll tell you this much about the UFO experiment we did on the Jericho cruise. We were out in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle. There's no way you could fly a drone out there.
Yeah, no.
Especially 3 of them. And the way these things were intertwining with each other and playing around with the crowd, there's just no way.
So cool. I love it.
So it made a semi-believer out of me at that point. I still am skeptical, but it was something else. I'll tell you that much. It really was something else. And I was standing.
It's good to be skeptical. I mean, we need that. We need people to kind of have that thought process of what it could be otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, and then you've got people like me who are like, oh my gosh, it's aliens. And it's a freaking bunch of police drones. You know, I just get so excited.
No, and I get that. You do have to have people in the crowd who let a cooler head prevail, though, when things like that happen and start questioning right away.
Yeah.
But what was really cool in that experience was at the time you had some people who were in shock and awe when it was happening. You had other people who were looking at it and questioning it. And then you had a couple of complete cynics that just walked up and thought we were rigging it. But as I was standing there looking at this, I was standing there with, he goes by the name Mike Santana now, but Santana, formerly of AEW, pro wrestler, and his fiance. And his fiance had experiences with UFOs at the top of their apartment building in the Bronx.
Oh, wow.
And she looked at these craft and went, this is exactly the exact same craft I saw at the top of our apartment building.
Wow.
And she said, I'm getting a little freaked out. And he kind of put his arms around her and said, it's okay. It's okay. Nothing's going to happen to you here. There's 65 people literally standing here. So he said, just stay focused on this. And he was like this calming influence, even though he didn't believe what he was seeing at the time.
Yeah.
Because after it was over, he said, bro, what the fuck did we just see? Right? And he's like, because he looked at me, he said, this wasn't gimmicked, was it? In other words, we didn't fake it. I said, no, we didn't gimmick a thing. So he was just like, I can't believe that happened. That just happened.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So something really interesting. Tell you what, let's take our break. When we come back, we'll talk about the scariest AI story I have read in quite some time. This is a matter of life and death, and I'm not joking here.
Oh, no.
Because scientists have come up with a way to create killer AI in the drop of a hat.
No.
We'll read that story after the break. And then we've got haunted dolls and toys for you later on in this show, kids. It doesn't get any easier. This show doesn't get any easier. If you're squeamish, you might as well turn us off right now. Not that our sponsor wants to hear that. And also, we've got an unusual funeral home scandal to talk to you about. Wrong relatives, unrefrigerated bodies, and a diamond.
Oh, you're going to want to stick around for that.
Yeah, we've got some good stuff on the way as well. And at the end of the program today, Jess, the animals are taking over the world as if everything were in topsy-turvy. We'll tell you about rogue bands of animals stealing stuff from us and trying to take over the world.
Like Furry Vengeance. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, Furry Vengeance. There you go. So that's all coming up on Supernatural News. And of course, we've got your Parashare coming up as well. That's all coming up in a bit. But first, I want to talk to you about, as the world's coming to an end, what you're doing to keep yourself fit so you can get away from AI, the animals, and all this other stuff. What are you doing to keep your body lean and mean? I don't know about you, Jess, but I have taken advantage of Factor meals. And as I've done so, I've managed to trim off a few pounds. I don't know if you could tell, Jess, but my face is looking a little leaner these days.
You look fantastic.
Why, thank you, my dear. It's real simple, folks. If you want to get yourself a little leaner, a little meaner, and if you want to get going this new year, and we're only a quarter into the new year, and get yourself healthier, and get some meals that taste good, chef-crafted meals that taste good, Factor Meals is where it's at. You know, Eating better is easy with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian approved, and ready to go in just 2 minutes. You'll have over 35 different options to choose from every week. In fact, I had a couple of great meals recently. I reordered the Gouda chicken.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
That sounds good.
Jess, I got to tell you about this chicken. I could order this chicken and eat it every single day. This chicken is amazing. Let me tell you about this chicken here for a moment. It's only 520 calories, right? It comes with this amazing garlic broccoli that is just astounding. And it's like this melted Gouda over the chicken. And you would think, okay, at 520 calories, what is it like for taste, Tim? Because to me, you say 520 calories, I'm thinking, what's it taste like? Yeah. Flavorful, wonderful, springs off the tongue. So amazing. That's all I could say. 520 calories too, Jess. How are you going to beat that?
You can't. And it's Gouda. You had me at Gouda.
Oh, I know. Factor has such amazing meals, folks. Like I said, chef-crafted, dietitian-approved, ready to go in 2 minutes. And you have different options to choose from every week, including Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Also, there are more than 60 add-ons to stay fueled up and feeling good all day long. All I got to know is, what are you waiting for? Get started today. Get after those goals. Let me tell you something else. Not only do you just have the options to choose from, you've got pancakes, you got smoothies and more. They make a chocolate banana smoothie that'll knock your socks off. You're
making me so hungry.
What I do is I take my, because I do the greens powder.
Yeah.
So now I take the chocolate banana smoothie and I throw the greens powder in it. I used to take just water and Gatorade and mix it with that. But now I take the chocolate banana smoothie and I throw that in there with the chocolate greens powder. Oh boy, I'm telling you something. There's breakfast right there. It's good.
Sounds delicious.
It's good stuff, Jess. But you got your pancakes, your smoothies, and more. You can discover a wide variety of easy options for the entire day, like breakfast, midday bites, and more. Like I said, you've got those 2-minute meals, folks. It's great if you want to bring them to work. Work is always such a difficult situation when you're trying to stay on a meal plan. You always hate trying to come up with lunch, but with lunch, it's easy. Factor is fresh. It's never frozen. So you just take your meal with you to work. You throw it in the fridge. You hope somebody doesn't steal it. Probably put a steel trap around it. You're going to need to bring one with you, especially one with sharp teeth so somebody gets caught in it. No, I'm kidding. But you can fuel up fast with Factor's restaurant quality meals. 2 minutes to heat and eat. You can do it at work. You can do it at home. And they're delicious. And like I said, man, easy on the calories, easy on the waistline. You're going to look great. It's flexible for your schedule as well. You can get as much or as little as you need by choosing your meals every week. Plus, you can pause or reschedule your deliveries at any time. And the best thing, Jess, it's not one of those prep things where you get it sent to your house. It's not a box. You don't have to cook. You don't have to measure. You have to do any of that stuff. There's no prep. There's no mess. Factor meals are ready to heat and eat. No prepping, no cooking, no cleanup. You just throw it in the microwave in 2 minutes. Isn't that amazing?
Easy peasy.
That's right. Factor's the perfect solution if you're looking for fast, premium options with no cooking required. So you're asking me right now, Tim, what do I got to do to get a hold of these Factor meals? Well, it's real simple. Sign up and save. We've done the math. Factor is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious. Here's how you do it, folks. You head to factormeals.com/darkness50. Use that code darkness50 to get 50% off. That's code darkness50 at factormeals.com/darkness50 to get 50% off. Now, here's the situation. We're coming into summer. You want to look good. You got bathing suit weather, whether you're taking the kids to the beach, whether you're taking the kids to the pool, whether you're just in your backyard and your neighbors are nosing over the fence. Someone's going to see you without a bit of clothing on or a little bit of clothing on. They're going to be looking at your body. You got to slim down. You know you got to. You're looking for the meal plan that's going to help you. for yourself. And it's easy to do that with Factor meals. Factor tastes wonderful. Factor has a meal plan for you. Factor has an unlimited amount of options to choose from that will get you there. And Factor is less expensive than takeout. And it's dietitian approved. It's nutritious and delicious. Go get it right now. Factormeals.com/darkness50. Use that code darkness50 to get 50% off. That's darkness50. That's the code you use at checkout at factormeals.com/darkness50 to get 50% off. Go ahead and do it today. All right, folks, when we come back, AI is going to kill you. We'll tell you how. And we've got dangerous toys, dangerous dolls, and we're going to tell you about dangerous funeral homes. It's just a dangerous day right here on Supernatural News and Parashare with myself, Tim Dennis, and Jessica Freeburg, right here on the best in paranormal programming. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal programming. This is Darkness Radio on a Wednesday. It's the Supernatural News and Parashare Wednesday. I'm Tim Dennis. Right over there is our illustrious co-host, which is much more intelligent than I could ever be, Jessica Freeburg. Hi, Jessica.
I can only laugh. Thank you, Tim.
Jessica, I know you're much more intelligent than I because you stayed out of the way of the one phenomena that's going to kill us all. AI. AI. No, I don't know. I've been listening to too much polka lately. I used to have to do that for a living,
It's like a yodel almost.
Well, it's the polka chant. If AI was your DJ, AI. Which they will eventually take over Polka Hour, probably from Molly B.
Then we really have to be scared.
Yeah, when AI is your DJ, old folks, when you're out there trying to do the polka and suddenly they're severing your spine as you're trying to out there polka and schottisch and waltz, then you know we've got them. I don't know what that means. By the way, folks, 2 stories for you here today with the nightmare fuel. We're trying not to drive you into your basement permanently. We'd like you to come out and see the sunlight every once in a while. I could have dug up like 6 stories on AI this week, Jess. I'm going easy on our listeners today.
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah. First one is that an AI chatbot allows JFK to comment on conspiracy theories and Marilyn Monroe affair because we'd want to know what JFK would say if he could speak through AI. JFK spoke to us from beyond the grave thanks to an AI chatbot and allows people to speak to their loved ones from beyond the grave using cutting-edge technology. Wouldn't you like to know what he had to say? Thanks to the never-ending capabilities of AI, people are now able to message their loved ones from beyond the grave. So, Project December was put to the test. It's a bot, by the way. And it was asked the all-important questions by one of the most talked about deaths of all time, the assassination of JFK, or John Fitzgerald Kennedy. The one question that everyone wants to know is, did JFK know who pulled the trigger on that fateful day in Dallas? He replied, first of all, what do you think he said? Jess, who do you think killed him? Or who do you think JFK thinks killed him?
Your mom?
Dear God. I nearly spit my drink across the room. That's all right. Your mom killed me. That's a horrible JFK impression, by the way. Your mom killed me. I was sitting in the car, and there she was in the book depository. I almost said suppository. In the book depository, and she took a shot. No, it wasn't my mom.
No, okay. Sorry, Tim's mom. You're a lovely lady. I was just kidding.
Although she can get an attitude sometimes. I wouldn't be surprised if she did take a shot and miss at him. She doesn't have great eyesight. Anyway.
I mean, only if he deserved it.
Wow.
Who, Tim? Who did he say?
He said that he believed it was Lee Harvey Oswald. Here's the quote from AIJFK. AIAO. He says, Lee Harvey Oswald, he was a former Marine and avowed Marxist who defected to the Soviet Union before returning to the United States. It sounds like he's reading out of Wikipedia.
I think so. That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah. Kennedy became the 35th and youngest ever president of the United States in 1961, succeeding Dwight D. Eisenhower, but was tragically assassinated on that day, November 26, 1963. And the Warren Commission decided that Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone gunman, hence why AIJFK was reading out of Wikipedia.
Lame.
Yeah. Rumors surrounding a possible affair between Marilyn Monroe and JFK have never ceased to go away. So, of course, AIJFK was asked the question about the affair. What is AIJ?
Did he deny?
Well, here's what AIJFK had to say. He said, she was a great actress and a beautiful woman. We had a brief but intense relationship. Oh, so he's not denying that. He's Mr. AI Playboy when it comes to that.
I guess.
Yeah.
Kiss and tell.
But despite his admittance, he was unwilling to comment any further. So an AI Playboy never kisses and tells. I guess. Watching on from beyond the grave, he even shared his views on current leaders. I don't know that I should share this. It's a little too hot for our audience. He did quote on a famous former president who could be heading up a second go at the presidency. I won't say what he said.
I was going to say, you probably should not.
No, it wasn't kind. Let's just put it that way. According to its website, Project December is the first system in the world of its kind using patent-pending technology in conjunction with deep AI running on one of the world's most sophisticated supercomputers. We can now simulate a text-based conversation with anyone. Anyone, they say, including someone who is no longer living. Ooh, it's a psychic. Those wishing to test out the bot for themselves, of course, you've got to pay money.
Of course.
It's just $10 per conversation, Jess. So, you know.
It'll cost you $10 to talk to grandma.
That's right. So save up your gum money. You're going to need it to, like Jess said, talk to your grandma. Just saying. By the way, before we taped today, it was announced that RFK, is it RFK Jr. who's running as a third party?
Yep.
Has announced that he's strongly considering Aaron Rodgers as his vice president.
My son was literally telling us this while we were eating dinner. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
It's like I've stepped into an alternate universe.
There's enough conspiracy theory there to go around for 8 years if you chose to elect both of them twice. So there you go. Wow.
Why can't The Rock just run for president? I would vote for him over and over again.
You know, honest to God, people are going to think I'm nuts, but I think, now don't get me wrong, we don't normally talk politics on the show. This is a conspiracy theory, and okay. I'm just throwing it out there. And you guys can tell me if I'm nuts and should stay out of this talk or not.
Yeah, nuts.
Thank you, Jess. You'll speak for the audience. I'm just nuts and I should shut up. I honestly think, should President Trump be arrested, not arrested, but should he go to jail for one of these indictments?
Yeah.
I think the Republican Party may pivot away and court Dwayne Johnson.
They totally should. That would be my dream come true.
I honest to God, think that's the move.
I mean, I don't want to get political, but he's so smart. He seems so nice, and he's easy on the eyes.
I think that's why you're voting. Well, think about it. Now, let's just think for a second. And again, this is theory. This is conspiracy theory. It's not political talk. And that's not what the show's about. But it is a huge conspiracy theory. And this is why. Because right now, it is about garnering votes and winning in office. It's not about politics and how and exactly about winning over issues. Right, and let's think about it. You just said it yourself, Jess. You are absolutely won over by this guy. Are you not?
I sometimes tell my children it's their future stepfather.
There you go. See? Okay, so he wins
Could
with...
be the first lady.
There you go. He wins with women. He wins with men. He wins with the younger population.
Yeah.
He's about to be featured at WrestleMania.
I didn't even know that this was a conspiracy theory for real, for real. I was just throwing it out there because I think he's wonderful.
He's been talked about ever since, well, you remember the show Young Rock that recently wrapped up?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was in the show, he's running for president, which was basically just telegraphing the fact that he may run in the future.
Right. We haven't had an actor be a president for a while. Right. It's time. Circle back.
So there you go. I'm thoroughly convinced the theory is true.
I like that conspiracy theory a lot. I'm feeling it.
And are you ready for this? I'll throw a little bit more of a log on the fire because he can't be president of the United States. He can be vice president because he's a citizen, but he's not a natural born citizen of the United States. His vice president would be a former governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wow, that's a pair.
A former Republican governor of California.
Huh.
And there's your moderate.
Interesting.
And there's your ticket for the Republican Party should anything happen.
All right. Can we just all agree to vote for The Rock right here, right now?
I'm telling you, that ticket beats Joe Biden in the fall. And it's the one ticket that the Republican National Committee could go to, I think could go to the polls next year and could win with. Overwhelmingly, I think it would be a landslide. I'm just saying. And I'm not
agreed.
I'm not telling you I vote one way or the other. I'm just saying that if it happens that Donald Trump is sentenced in any of these trials, I don't think there's anybody right now that they have that they can win a race with. And I didn't
even realize that The Rock would run on a Republican ballot.
Think about it.
I had no idea.
You know what?
I only like him because he's handsome.
Most wrestlers in WWE are not Democrats.
Huh.
They're Republicans.
I'm not very political, so I don't pay a lot of attention to it. But yeah, it's an interesting conspiracy theory.
If you think there are very many Democrats in wrestling, think again. No, seriously, look it up.
We should ask the AI JFK. He'll know.
That's right. And again, conspiracy theory for you. Look up how many wrestlers contributed to the Trump campaign.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And again, this isn't a political show, but look it up.
No, it's interesting. This is good conversation.
Yeah. So, and again, not getting political, just saying, look it up. Look it up.
Yeah. I don't know who you're voting for.
No.
I know I'm voting for The Rock. I'm just going to write his name in.
You're writing him in as a disgruntled voter. You're writing in The Rock and The Rock and Schwarzenegger. But again, we'll throw a little fuel on the fire. See what blows up. But I'm just saying, all the signs are there. And if the RNC hasn't taken that hint by now, they're tone deaf. They're absolutely tone deaf. And I do believe politics in this country is tone deaf.
Yeah, I think so too.
I really do. Because if you want to look at all the things of what Dwayne Johnson is doing right now, economically, the man is sound. Economically, the man started his own banking company and credit card company.
So he's smart and handsome.
Acorns. He started his own football league. He's invested now in TKO Holdings, and he's a board member of TKO Holdings, which owns WWE and UFC. The man knows finances.
He is a well-rounded individual.
So, and one of the richest men in Hollywood.
And ripped.
Look at you, Jess. Let's get past the physical stuff for a second, okay?
And he's...
Rein it in, dear. Roll up your tongue, put it back in your mouth. Let's stop drooling. You got a little bit on the corner of your mouth there, sweetheart. Here's the deal. And us guys get crap for being like this. No, it's but the last thing that we can throw out here, when it came to the different strikes in Hollywood, if you want something to balance the scales here on the political side, donated to the unions during the strikes. There you go. Also supports unions. Not quite a Republican stand, but he swings both ways. You see what I'm saying here? Does that make him a little more sexy? That he swings both ways here, Jess? Does that make him a little more mysterious?
I don't mind it.
Okay. All right. Just saying. I'm just saying. Okay, let's get off the semi-political talk. I can hear the emails being written right now.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I think I did it. I had to bring up to my boyfriend.
That's okay. I got you a little excited there, and, I don't mind doing that.
Sorry, guys. It's all my fault.
That's fine. Meanwhile, let's get you scared again now that we got you excited, Jess. That's the playbook for most guys. Part 2 of this story I told you would absolutely scare the bejesus out of you. 4 words for you. It may be the Rock's entry into the Terminator series. We can start that rumor if you want. Rise of the Slaughter Bots. An AI drone designed to hunt and kill people is built in just hours by scientists for a game.
Why?
Remember those drones you saw that you thought were UFOs? They could have been slaughter bots.
Oh my gosh. I'm never coming out of my basement again. You did it.
See? I did it. I told you. Swarms of killer AI drones might sound like the plot of a dystopian science fiction thriller, but in a terrifying glimpse of the future, one scientist has shown just how easy it is already to build an assassination drone that can hunt down and kill people, Jess.
Oh, no.
In just a few hours, Luis Wenis, which sounds like Bernice, an engineer and entrepreneur, converted a $115 drone into the basis of a deadly weapon. You heard that right.
Why?
Using AI facial recognition, the drone was programmed to recognize individuals and race toward them at full speed.
What? I hate this.
Yes, right. Although Mr. Wenis says he built the drone for a game, he also says he wanted to raise awareness for how easily this could be used for a deadly terrorist attack. Thank you, you asshole. In a video posted to X, formerly Twitter, Mr. Wenis and his engineer colleague demonstrated how a commercial drone can be programmed to chase down targets. In the post, Mr. Wenis writes, "I thought it would be fun to build a drone that chases you around as a game.
Is that fun?
I think it'd be fun to yank your cock out and shove it in your ass, but I don't do that."
I hate this guy.
I do too. However, the terrifying video quickly shows how dangerous this technology could really be. Oh, God, there's technology videos. Jesus H. The drone uses an AI object detection model to recognize faces using its onboard camera. Once it sees a face, the drone is programmed to try and keep it in the center of its view and fly directly forward, chasing down its target. In one mode, the drone will charge directly towards anything it recognizes as a face. Thanks, asshole. In this mode, the video shows how the drone begins to attack other people in the park, only stopping when Mr. Wennis catches it. The drone also has a second setting, which Mr. Wennis describes as an assassination drone. Mr. Wennis wrote, I was also able to add face recognition to it and only make it attack someone it knew who it was. It could easily identify the person from 10 meters distance.
Well, that's it. I'm just going to start covering my face. I'm going to wear a face covering all the time.
We tried that during COVID, Jess. It didn't work.
Yeah.
You mean now we finally have a reason for people to wear them? Wait, I got one of these. And while this drone is not particularly dangerous, Mr. Wennis warns that more deadly drones could pose a serious threat. He wrote, this literally took just a few hours to build and made me realize how scary it is. You could easily strap a small amount of explosives on these and let hundreds of them fly around.
What a psycho. Why is he even thinking about this?
My guess is that no one is giving him sexual activity. That's why. That's why this is happening, Jess. He ain't getting laid.
He might be onto something there.
He ain't on anything, if you know what I mean. On social media, commenters reacted with a mixture of fascination and horror to the invention. Responding to the post, one ex-user wrote, surface level, this is cool, but the potential to use this for evil is a bit scary. There's a good way to use this?
You're going to use it to deliver flowers to people who
yes.
you recognize their face.
This flower bomb brought to you by 1-800-Flowers. Send the woman you love flowers by ramming them into her face. Flower bomb!
Nothing says love quite like a flower bomb.
And a broken nose. Another commenter added, that shouldn't be easy to build. I think that's sarcasm on printing, which doesn't work. Even Elon Musk, CEO of X, responded to the post in which these joy boys got off when they saw it, saying, it's alarmingly easy. And then commissioned 3,000 of them to be built. Except for they all failed because they had Tesla parts in them. I'm just saying.
Oh, no.
Small explosive carrying drones are already having a significant impact in the war in Ukraine, by the way. This isn't a new thing. They're already being used in war, Jess.
Right.
Yeah. Ukrainian drone operators attach grenades, mortars, and other explosive devices to cheap commercially available drones to create deadly weapons. These first-person drones have proven to be extremely effective at hunting down and destroying anything from individual troops to tanks and bunkers. But the crucial difference is that these drones that this idiot made are operated by an individual who's always in control of the process rather than an autonomous AI. The real danger is that the cheap, easy-to-produce swarms of autonomous drones could be released into battlefields or even public spaces. Mr. Wennis, which is a P and an I away from being something else, writes, my bet is that we will see some sort of terror attack using this type of tech within the next few years. Guess what, asshole? 30 days! You just put it out there. No one's gonna wait a few years. You just gave somebody a roadmap.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Here's a terrible idea. Let me share it with everyone.
Mr. Wennis, he's a G and an I away from being a genius, but he's not.
No.
You still need some technical knowledge to build this now, he says, but it becomes easier and easier. Well, you don't need that much technical knowledge. It's a $115 drone. If you, Mr. Wennis, figured it out at home, there's somebody who knows a little bit about drones on the other side of the world that's going to figure it out too.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's scary.
Autonomous drone swarms are yet to be deployed on the battlefield, but DARPA is reportedly developing a drone swarm weapon of mass destruction dubbed AMAS, Autonomous Multi-Domain Adaptive Swarms of Swarms, AMAS. AMAS is still in the planning stages, but DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, has been collecting bids from suppliers for the $78 million contract. So, Mr. Wennis, go ahead and apply, I guess. I don't know. He wrote, "We checked for bombs and guns, but there are no anti-drone systems for big events and public spaces yet. We need to build anti-drone systems for civilian spaces ASAP." Oh, so build the weapon and then say we need anti-drone weapons. Why don't you build the anti-drone weapon?
Let's do that. Yeah. Can we just go back in time to like 1985 before all this weird stuff even existed?
Right. Mr. Wennis describes himself as an open source absolutionist, meaning that he believes important developments in code and AI in particular should be open to the public. Great. And in the responses to the post, a number of social media users asked Mr. Wennis to release the code or share a full tutorial on how to produce an assassination drone.
Wonderful.
My guess, a lot of them are in terrorist organizations. However, in this instance, he says that he will refrain from posting the code due to the potential danger posed by autonomous drones. Finally, somebody with common sense.
Thank goodness.
He says, "I will not post for now. It's honestly super easy to code, but no point enabling," he added. So he probably stopped this thing by about 30 to 60 days, is my guess. Somebody's going to figure it out.
Yes.
Because
all you had
to do is just tell them how it's done, and they'll figure it out.
All of these smart people using their smarts for creepy things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it.
Not just creepy things, destructive things.
Yes, that's what makes them creepy.
Yeah.
Swarms of drones and chasing us and recognizing our face and blowing it off. I don't like it.
Blowing it off. Oh, that's just creepy. You use the word creepy, and I almost want to go to our creepy dolls and creepy toy section, but that's for later in the program. You gotta build that, Jess. You gotta build.
All right.
Not as in build that bomb, but you gotta build that to a crescendo. You know what I mean?
I'll be patient.
Yes.
Waiting for the creepy dolls.
That's right. You gotta build that to a crescendo, so to speak. That's what my old broadcasting teacher used to tell me. Got to build that to a crescendo. In the meantime, we have some scary stories to bring you. Not quite AI scary, but scary stories nonetheless. We are going to go inside the UK's most haunted abandoned hospital, where visitors hear a little boy crying. An abandoned hospital in Kent has long been considered one of the most haunted locations in the UK, and visitors who dared to visit the spooky structure claimed they could hear a little boy crying. St. Bartholomew's Hospital in Rochester, Kent was a go-to spot for ghost hunters or adventurers due to its mysteries dating back centuries. Creepy footage and pictures from inside the hospital show a glimpse of the now demolished building before redevelopment began. One of the people who dared to visit the structure is urban explorer Kim K.H. Urban X Hargraves, who enjoys documenting ruined and abandoned buildings across the country. Her haunting images paint a creepy backdrop to the endless spooky tales inside the hospital. Taken in 2020 before work started, the pictures were shared with Kent Live, and the Explorer also published videos on her YouTube channel and Facebook page. Some visitors reported seeing a woman walking through the wall in one side of the rooms, while others recounted a sinister story involving a little boy age 6 to 8, with brown hair and a tatty white shirt, gray sleeveless pullover, gray short trousers, and long socks, which are down by his ankles, crying in the corridors. That's kind of sad.
That's super sad. Poor little guy.
The ghostly tales said he was also seeking his mom or dad. The legend was that his appearance usually meant that there was going to be a death in one of the wards. It's horrible.
He's a little grim reaper.
Yikes, I hate to think of it that way. At the time of its closure, St. Bartholomew's was the oldest operating hospital in the UK, having been open for well over 900 years. The building, as it was when it was closed, was, of course, not the original structure from 1078, but it had stood in Rochester in one form or another since the dawn of what would become the modern United Kingdom. The hospital had already existed for 137 years when the first ever Parliament of England was formed, the precursor to our modern government. Having since been gutted for refurbishment, the interior looks a lot less like a former NHS hospital and a little more like something out of a horror film. Many will know the hospital from their visits over the years, as one person wrote on a post from Kim's social media, pointed out that one room looked familiar and may have been where they were based for their pre-nursing training in the 1980s. Oh, how would you like that? You thought you were training there in the 1980s and after seeing it in ghost pictures.
Yikes.
The looming Victorian-era structure is certainly atmospheric, with high ceilings and stark interior calling back to the building's 1800s origins. It's hard to believe that at the time of filming, the hospital had only been disused for 4 years. That's it. It's only been left abandoned for 4 years.
Wow, that's wild.
The new development means that many of the rooms will soon be completely refurbished, and if they are not extensively remodeled, they will likely be gone completely, as the new flat block is designed to keep the original architecture and style intact. St. Bart's, as it was once known by locals, was built with charitable donations in the 19th century, having fallen into disrepair centuries earlier, despite continued operation. It was then brought under NHS control in 1948 under Labour Prime Minister Clement Attlee. At this time, the site provided inpatient rehabilitation wards, as well as a variety of specialized clinics. It was eventually sold for just £2.65 million in 2016 for redevelopment, a feat dwarfed by just how big the building itself is. Going further back into the past, there was a once forlorn chapel at the heart of the original hospital. This older piece of history was built in 1115 by the Normans. It changed hands a number of times over the centuries, falling into ruin multiple times. It was refurbished in 1962, but once again fell back into disrepair. In more recent years, it was gutted and renovated and is now owned by Granite Gym, with the latest redevelopment of St. Bart's ending the hospital's connections to its storied past. These videos and images taken before refurbishment began are a final look at centuries of history. And I tell you what, I'm going to post these pictures as well, because there's a lot of rich history that are shown in these pictures and some creepy pictures as well. You can't believe, Jess, I'm going to show you just one of these pictures here.
Yeah.
That this place has actually been abandoned for all of 4 years. Because it's just insane. When you look at that picture, can you believe that's been abandoned for 4 years?
No.
Look at that.
No way.
I mean, we've walked into asylums like that have been abandoned for, 40, 50 years.
That cannot just be 4 years of emptiness. That is like a mess.
But you're talking about a building that, probably, I mean, it's been standing for over 1,000 years, that has areas of it that probably haven't been touched in hundreds of years.
That's true. That's probably an area that they weren't utilizing anymore.
Yeah.
Wow. That is creepy to think that you have part of it functioning and then, arms of it just like that.
I mean, that's pretty dark, but can you see that?
Yeah, I can.
Isn't that nuts?
Wow, I want to go there so bad. We should go spend the night there.
Yeah. I mean, that's insane. But to think that only 4 years, it's only been closed for 4 years.
That's crazy.
It's just Amazing. So I'm going to post the article in the description of this program so that you can grab the link there and you can see for yourself what staying parts now looks like. And see for yourself before they do any further renovations there. All right, let's move on to the next story. Now, I told you earlier about the Legacy Funeral Home scandal. First, it starts with a diamond, then it starts with wrong relatives. Finally, you end up with unrefrigerated bodies.
What?
Yeah. 2 people have been arrested, Jess, on suspicion of prevention of a lawful and decent burial and fraud, and have been bailed under police investigation at the time of writing, with a second parlor now having had its branding removed. It's gotten serious over there, folks. Police have removed 35 bodies and a quantity of ashes from funeral parlors in Hull, overseas, with various concerns about the business conduct. Police have made 2 arrests, a 46-year-old man and a 23-year-old woman, on suspicion of prevention of a lawful and decent burial and fraud. They are out on bail under police investigation at the time of writing. The bodies have been removed on Legacy Independent Funeral Directors on Hessel Road in Hull and moved to another location in the city. Tributes and flowers have now been left at the scene, with various people to have used the service and speaking up about their concerns over the treatment and dignity of the departed loved ones. But what do we know so far about the concerns, and what do we know about the business, and what is the police response so far? The company is thought to have had 3 branches. However, March 12th, which would have been yesterday, reports were that the branding for the Beverly branch of the firm has been removed. Last week, officers cordoned off all 3 branches over concerns about the storage and management processes relating to the care of the deceased. 8 police vehicles were spotted at the premises on Monday, with both officers, forensic specialists, and the Maritime Protection Unit on the scene. Officers are understood to have set up a direct line for anyone affected, with some 350 calls thought to have been received at the time of writing.
Yikes.
I think somebody biffed this big time. Assistant Chief Constable Tom McLaughlin said on Sunday the dedicated phone line remains open and has received over 350 calls from concerned members of the public since Friday. Each call we receive is being carefully handled and delicately assessed by a specialist team to ensure that we have a thorough understanding of each family's circumstances. We will get back to each and every one of you as soon as we can. That sounds like a phone tree operator. Just saying. Here's something absolutely chilling, Jess. Hundreds of people could have the wrong ashes.
Oh, that's just terrible.
I know it's kind of a paranoid thing to think about whenever you cremate a loved one, but think about this. One woman has been reported to have turned the ashes of her partner into a diamond, but has now questioned whether they are from those of the person she loved. They told the Mirror all families that ever had any dealings with this company are worried. Meanwhile, 35-year-old Layla Parker Poland said, "I am convinced they lost my mom's ashes." She has also claimed that when her father died the year before, the funeral director left his body in an unrefrigerated viewing room for a fortnight. She also she also claimed that her father's ashes weighed more than her mother's, despite being smaller than her when he was alive.
Oh.
She got the bargain.
Not a good sign.
Yeah, she got the bargain from the funeral home. All the ashes you can take. Just $59.99.
Oh.
According to the same outlet, a testimony from a separate customer who used the service in 2021 said it took them ages for the ashes to be given to me. When we eventually got them, he handed them over in a see-through bag in a box. Yikes. We paid for an urn. It could be the wrong ashes.
That is so sad.
Yeah. During the investigation, officer noted that they had found a quantity of human ashes at the parlor, which could mean it's a hodgepodge.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. Scary stuff, folks. Scary stuff. I mean, not all funeral parlors are like that. Keep that in mind. But that is just scary stuff. All right, let's do a couple of Parashares real quick before we continue on with our stories. One of the Parashares I had came in from David. David wrote in and said he had a couple of stories, but I'm just going to focus on the one because we're a little short on time today.
Okay.
He wanted to talk about the Mandela Effect. He believes he suffered the effects of a time ripple of the Mandela Effect. And it sounds bonkers, he says, but it's down to an actor he believes died in early 2012. The actor is Jack Klugman, the lead in Quincy M.E. You may also know him from The Odd Couple. He was Oscar. Okay?
Okay.
So I grew up watching him with my grandparents. It was also a show, Quincy M.E., that my grandfather and I would watch together when it was on in the afternoons on one of the 3 channels we had on offer. He says, I'm showing my age now. I remember him passing and his obituary clearly appearing in a top quarter of a page in the Daily Mail back in early 2012 and when reading papers was a thing. And thinking back of good times watching the TV show back with fondness with my family. Then quite a few months later, I hear on the radio that same actor had died in December that same year. Now, the Mandela Effect has links with the Hadron Collider, and it's working, and cause and effects. And now I clearly remember that article in the newspaper and can say, hand on heart, that news story was quite a few months later. I can't explain the above, but what do you think? Okay, this is one of those I'm going to agree with David. Now, normally I say the Mandela Effect is lazy. It's generally people saying, I remember that person dying when they don't pay good attention to what it is that that person's been doing with their career. A lot of times what people tend to do is they tend to be into their own thing. They've got kids, they've got a life. And they don't always pay close attention to what it is an artist is doing, or a writer, or a screenwriter, or a director, producer, whoever it is that they're following. And they say, well, no, so-and-so died 2 years ago. And it just is, they've been out of the spotlight working on something and have come out with a new project. And suddenly they're in the news. Or they haven't been in the spotlight for 10 years. They might have popped up once 4 years ago to promote something, and now they're dead. And you go, well, that's impossible. 4 years ago, I could have swore they died. No, 4 years ago, they had a new project. Or 4 years ago, they might have gotten in trouble, and you heard about it. And, and
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and now you're hearing about them, and they're dead. Well, you're mistaking hearing them dead now for 4 years ago they got in trouble, or 4 years ago they might have been sick, or 4 years ago they had another incident.
Your mind is kind of mixing up the stories.
That's right. Yeah, you're mistaken.
Yeah.
But you know, it's to me it's and I use the word lazy thinking, but it's really mistaking one for another. Okay.
Yeah.
But in this case, Jack Klugman, I seem to remember 2 obituaries. I do seem to remember an obituary from around that time, around 2012. And I remember seeing this last obituary for Jack and going, wait a minute, he's already dead. And I know it because I remember seeing it was an Entertainment Tonight piece. And they were showing B-roll from the set. And they showed a little clip from The Odd Couple. And there was a quote from, I think it was Norman Lear, I don't remember who, but talked about Jack Klugman and, you know, talk about typecasting with The Odd Couple. And boy, he really was like his character.
Yeah.
That was 2012. And then forward to the new obituary. And it focused more on Quincy and had very little of the Odd Couple stuff. And a new quote from Tony Randall. Because there was a quote from Tony Randall in that old story and a new quote from Tony Randall. But the new quote from Tony Randall, he was less friendly than the old quote. He's like, oh, we had lost a little bit of touch over the last couple of years, but I always loved him. And in the old quote, he was like, oh, no, we're still tight and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is like night and day.
Huh.
Now, I'm curious if you guys remember that quote or not, to let us know. Email me, tim@darknessradio.com. So, David, I'm on board with you on this one. This one I remember. Jess, do you remember anything about Jack Klugman?
I mean, I do remember watching Quincy with my mom, reruns, I think. But I don't remember anything about his passing at all.
Okay.
But I am over here Googling it wildly while you're talking.
Yeah.
Trying to see if anyone else has had the same experience, because sometimes like you and David are both kind of having the same, experience of remembering that of two different times when he passed.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if other people have as well.
Yeah.
Be curious to know if anybody emails you about this one.
Yeah, I'm wondering if other people have had that same. Now, the only Mandela Effect I'm seeing as far as Jack Klugman goes is on Reddit. New Mandela Effect just dropped. Juror 5 wasn't played by Jack Klugman, but was actually played by Monk. That's the one I'm seeing. But
yeah, I didn't see anything either. I found his, that he passed in December of 2012. But you guys are remembering it from earlier that year.
Okay, so now I have a Wikipedia here. Jack Klugman, April 27th, 1922 to December 24th, 2012.
Yeah, but David was saying he remembered him dying. Didn't he say March of 2012? Like he remembered it in the same year, but it happened at the end of the year.
And there's an article on AboveTopSecret.com, Dead Celebrities and Possible Timeline Changes or something else. And they mentioned the same with Jack Klugman.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're not the only one, David.
No, you're not alone, man.
Weird.
That's wild.
So yeah, this is a definite Mandela Effect deal, dude. I'm telling you, you're not insane.
You're not.
And in fact, let me see if I can pull up. I'm going to pull up and screenshot this, and I'm going to send, because David and I'm not going to say David's last name, but I'm going to screenshot it and I'm going to send it to him on Messenger so he can see that it says 2012 for his on his Wikipedia. Mm-hmm. That he died in 2012. Now, keep in mind, on Wikipedia, anybody can change the date. So somebody could have gone in there and entered 2012 as a lark. But it says here, Klugman died from prostate cancer at his home in Woodland Hills, Los Angeles on December 24th, 2012 at age 90. And that he was, that the New York Times profile described him as an extraordinary actor enabling the ordinary. His obituary in the Huffington Post referred to him as a character actor titan. Do they have a link? Klugman's ashes were interred at Westwood Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles. They don't have a link, though, to the Huffington Post article. Yeah.
That's wild. But David, you're onto something.
Yeah. So interesting stuff with that. Like I said, most Mandela Effect stuff, I kind of, I shrug my shoulders at, and I don't pay it much mind, because I truly do believe that stuff is bullpucky, if you want to put it that way. I know we've already done plenty of swearing today, but, I don't really put much weight into it, because, I just don't. I just don't feel like it's of much merit,
I mean, it's hard to say. If you're experiencing it yourself, then you're like, no, I know. Like the Berenstain Bears thing.
Yeah. Yep.
I remember so distinctly as a child being weirded out by the way that it was spelled with the EI at the end, Berenstain. But that's not how it's spelled now. But I remember struggling with that because that didn't make sense to my brain. I can remember sitting there with the book, like trying to make sure I was saying it right. and saying it wrong because I was reading it phonetically rather than, using the way that it's supposed to be said. But it's Berenstain, Stain. Like, that's not what I read when I was a kid.
Right. I
don't know.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Back in the cool alternate universe that I lived in the 80s, when life was simpler and there were no drones wanting to shoot my face off.
That indeed. I got to thank Outlook for screwing up my folders. So there you go. Not able to access my other Parashare stuff for some reason. They've hidden them on me now, and they're calling the new folder system. Try the new groups. So we'll have to read my other Parashare stuff next week. So when I can find my folders again.
It's a conspiracy, I tell you.
It is. Maybe that's a Mandela Effect thing. They've hidden my Parashare on me. Let's get back to our story, shall we? We only have a couple left here in the show. Okay, so I promised you some haunted toys, haunted dolls. Let's jump into that. This one, Jess, is absolutely going to scare the pants off you. Here's the deal. You tell me, doesn't this doll look not only lifelike but creepy?
Oh, my goodness. No, thank you.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Gross.
This creepy doll terrified locals in a charity shop, and it was bought by a TV psychic. Isn't that something? That creepy doll left shoppers terrified after it popped up in a thrift store and had been bought by a TV psychic. The unsettling toy was put up for sale at St. Columbia's hospice shop. Hopefully it didn't stay with anybody in hospice.
What the heck? This story just gets weirder and weirder.
In Morningside, Edinburgh. It then went viral after a picture of it was posted online, prompting shop workers to stick up a sign that read, "I'm not creepy."
Yes, you are. If you have to have a sign saying you're not, you are.
And then underneath it in parentheses, it said, "I was just built that way." But Deborah Davies, who has appeared on The Unexplained Caught on Camera, bought the doll to add to her vast collection. The Real Housewives of Cheshire star went all the way to Scotland to purchase Annabelle. That's the name of the doll, Annabelle.
No.
Don't tell me this thing wasn't built to be creepy. For £200, and now the toy will stay at her home in Cheshire alongside about 70 more dolls. Don't tell me she's not creepy. I mean,
she is definitely creepy.
She can come on the show and try to debate it, but she's a little creepy too. Davies told the BBC she's going to keep the new purchase under 24-hour surveillance, as she should. She should probably sleep with one eye open. Simone Varga, who runs a charity shop, said the doll was given to them by an ex-volunteer when they moved away from Edinburgh. When I opened the box, I saw its creepy long legs and real shoes, and then saw its eyes and pupils and its nails where it had the white bits on it. She added the doll. Yeah, white bits. Yeah.
This is a terrible description. I'm sorry. Carry on.
She added that the doll looked very realistic, and it does. Look at this creepy face. Look at its head. Hey, Jessica.
Oh, my gosh, no.
I know I sound like Mr. Hanky right now, but
I just want to come home and bite your face off.
Yeah, that's what I think she's saying.
Yep.
That doll would be locked away with many padlocks.
Please don't knock me away, Jessica. I can't breathe properly.
Simone first put a $180 pound tag on the collector's item, but dropped the price after people online branded it creepy. I started saying it was creepy, menacing, and freaking out about it. I thought it's not going to sell, so I put the price down and put a sign on it saying, "I'm not creepy." Good God. Hopefully the doll doesn't cause Davies the same bad luck a similar item seemed to bring after it was also brought from a charity shop. By the way, that was a cursed painting of a little girl previously bought and returned twice to the same charity shop in Sussex after it wreaked havoc on the lives of its owner. By the way, here's a picture of the lady in the charity shop and the creepy doll.
Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that thing? Don't you just want to throw that thing in a big old garbage can, triple lock it with chains and throw it in the ocean?
A little gasoline and a match.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you, Eminem. Appreciate that. A can full of gas and a handful of matches. So from here on out, it's a chronic too. We move on. A woman finds a possessed laughing toy in haunting abandoned mental institution from the 1800s. So of course, pick it up and take it home.
That's a lot right there in one sentence.
Yeah. 24-year-old urban explorer Gabby visited an abandoned mental institution with her boyfriend, 25-year-old Sonny, because, you know, it's a romantic little trip for the kids.
It's just a romantic night out.
Mm-hmm. By the way, their friend Dan tagged along because he's got nobody. I don't know why. But they were left terrified by what they found. By the way, the chilling moment was caught on camera by Gabby, a 24-year-old urban explorer from right here in the good old US of A. She stumbled upon the eerie building while researching online and decided to investigate it with her boyfriend, 25-year-old Sonny, and their friend Dan, who's an absolute loser. Evidently can't find a date on Saturday night.
Third wheel.
By the way, the toy didn't eat him alive, so that plan didn't work out very well. Although she didn't reveal the exact location, Gabby shared that the institution was once a state-run facility for people with mental disorders and accepted patients of all ages. It was reportedly closed down following several lawsuits over poor care and mistreatment of patients. Sounds like a fine place. The site was the first Gabby ever explored and recently returned to find it in a state of severe decay, with peeling paint, debris, powdered asbestos in the basement, and signs of vandalism. But what shocked her was finding a toy. Now, I don't know if I should shock you with the toy.
Okay.
And then tell you the name.
It's not like an adult toy or anything weird like that.
No. It's not an adult toy. We're talking about a kid's toy. Good God.
Okay.
I like the way you think, kid. No, it's kid's toy. But should I shock you with the horrible, grotesque, demonic toy, or should I just show it to you, and then as I'm showing it to you, tell you what this horror of the spawn Satan is actually called?
Okay, I want to see it.
Okay, here we go.
See that.
So here is what shocked our hero, Gabby, who walked into this scene of Satan. It is a small pink horse toy named Pinkie Pie.
No!
This is the thing that they're all afraid of.
I was ready to be scared. I think I have that toy somewhere in a box in the basement.
Doesn't it look like it should be hanging out with Gumby?
I didn't know it was demonic.
It looks like it's like the daughter of Pokey.
Yeah, it's just a little My Little Pony or something.
Look at Pinkie Pie. It looks like somebody shaved Rudolph. Look at that.
It does. It just needs a little red nose.
Right?
Yeah.
Somebody hazed Blitzen.
Okay, so Gabby's terrified of this? I don't understand.
I guess so.
I think Gabby's silly.
Let's find out more, shall we?
Okay, what did it do?
What shocked her was finding a small pink horse toy by the name of Pinkie Pie from the My Little Pony series in one of the rooms. Oh, it's Pinkie Pie!
Scariest thing ever.
In the video, the toy can be seen shaking its head and laughing on a red table.
No.
Kind of like that. Gabby said, "It just started and we did not touch anything. It's been sitting here for years. So how the hell did that battery last?"
That didn't look like it had a battery. That looked like a little plastic.
It's just a little plastic thing.
I'm so confused.
She shared the creepy clip with her 1.5 million TikTok followers. I don't think we're alone. Where the post racked up 690,000 likes.
Wow.
How come I can't get the Psychic Pup's 690,000 likes? She posts a goddamn My Little Pony Pinkie Pie that whinnies a little bit and gets 690K likes.
We're doing this all wrong. We need to take all of my daughter's old abandoned toys. We've got a lot of creepy Barbie dolls down there that have had their hair cut and limbs ripped off.
I could do voices for them. Let's make some goddamn money on this.
Let's do it. We're going to go viral.
One person said, poor Pinkie Pie is being possessed. Good God. Just grab it and throw it so hard at the wall, another user commented. Someone else said, I do not claim this negative energy. This gave me really bad vibes. Make sure you're protected. Oh, come on. It's fucking Pinkie Pie. Get a grip. You want scary? Get one of those goddamn exploding drones to blow up in your face. That's scary.
No doubt. Or at least let the toy be a clown. I mean, I was waiting for something really creepy.
Right? Instead, you get Pinkie Pie whinnying at you.
Freaking Pinkie Pie.
Look at the face of evil, Jess.
Oh, God, said another scared viewer. Another user commented, why are you just waiting there? Get in your car and hit the gas pedal in the zoom zoom. Seriously, these are actual reactions to a little pink horse that went. Someone else agreed, I would have burned the place. Another viewer dubbed it Ghost Pinkie and Possessed. Are kids really that scared these days?
I think so. We need to toughen them up. We need to take them ghost hunting for real.
Do they not go outside and touch grass? Or what's the deal? Do they have
They're just sitting inside playing their video games.
Have none of them ever fallen off a swing?
I don't think that. Clearly not. It's wild.
Are they all Kirk Cousins? What the hell is going on here? They've never taken a decent hit in their life? What's the deal?
Oh, you had to.
Oh, I had a whole monologue ready for today, but I realized I think I freaked out the chat room. Because I let it fly in the chat room.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, did I ever.
Darn it.
I told the chat room he ought to be arrested on RICO charges.
Really?
Yep, for robbery, theft, swindling, crossing state lines while doing it. You know what I mean?
All of it.
Yep. Anyways, back to Gabby, who scared people with a little pink horse. That sounds sexual, I know, but I'm sorry. Gabby described the visit to the abandoned location as anxiety-inducing. Oh, come on. Anxiety-inducing?
I don't get it. Why'd they go?
She said she found items including patient files with personal medical documents. Oh, that'll scare you.
Yeah, terrifying.
Yeah, especially if you're an insurance processor. Inside that institution, she found one file with a young girl's photograph on it, showing that she had been admitted to the facility more than 50 years ago. Oh, you know what that means?
I just think that's cool. That's not scary. That's just history.
That's scary because that makes her a senior citizen. And Gabby believes the child may have been responsible for the pony toy. That was sitting in the chair upright, staring at them.
Didn't exist when that child was a child.
My Little Pony wasn't around 50 years ago.
No, that was like an 80s thing.
Yeah, you got to get your decades straight. She said, I didn't think much of this discovery at the time. We ended up making our way to a different building, and upon our entry, we came across an eerie-looking My Little Pony doll. Jesus Christ. All three of us walked right by it and continued on through the rest of the building. Once we decided we were ready to leave, we walked by the doll again, except this time it began to move and laugh hysterically. We were immediately terrified, and I decided to capture it on my phone since we were struggling to debunk what it was or what was actually occurring. If the doll had motion sensors on a My Little Pony from the 80s.
I can't with this story.
Then it should have gone off when we entered and walked by it earlier, yet it didn't. It had magical Satan powers. Little Pinkie Pie, I almost said Porky Pie. However, the alarming noises made them question the presence of something unusual. The explorer went on to say, I had also decided to hold on to the girl's patient file that we had discovered earlier, since I knew it was one of the last documents present in this location, which deserved to be preserved. Well, God bless you, you little preserver.
I'm just going to steal it.
Yeah, I'm just going to steal this property and take it back to my place. This made me question if there was possibly a connection between me making contact with a young girl's file and then being interacted with by a toy that she likely would have loved to play with.
Yeah, she's like, leave my personal information alone.
She's trying to talk through the pony like, leave my shit go. Just leave it alone. Just put it down. Regardless, I am uncertain of what we experienced and only know that it terrified us in the moment and leaves me wondering if it was simply a malfunctioning toy or something indicative of the paranormal. Well, Jess, I vote for malfunctioning toy.
I want it to be paranormal, though. That's way more exciting. But yeah, it's probably just a malfunctioning toy.
I'm going to hold up a picture for you of the file they stole. So you can tell me, do you think this girl played with a My Little Pony?
No, because My Little Ponies did not exist then. She is cute as a button, though. Look at her.
She is cute as a button, but she looks like she probably comes from the late 60s, early 70s. Right?
Yeah. I mean, 50s even. I don't know. That's not an 80s child, I can tell you that.
No, the haircut and dress is very much screams Bobby socks.
Yeah.
She's wearing a collared dress.
Yeah, that would be like 50s, 60s, I would say at the latest.
Yeah.
She had a Raggedy Ann doll, maybe.
Right, but she didn't have a My Little Pony.
And it definitely didn't have batteries in it.
No, that's for sure. So way to swing and miss on that one, explorers. Congratulations on that deal.
Thanks for making me laugh, though.
You're welcome. Last two stories of the show today, Jess. You get a little extra today in today's Supernatural News and Parashare. Animals are taking over the earth. We got two stories today, this special spring edition of Supernatural News and Parashare. First one, oh, look at this guy. By God, look at this guy. You can tell he's taking over the earth. Look at him. He's just ready to go. Can you see him? You see him? Look at him. Look at how menacing, menacing and dangerous he is.
So scary.
Isn't he? Let me explain to you what Jess is looking at right now. Frightened diners in a McDonald's tucked in fear as a raccoon wandered in. Basically said, give me all your Big Macs. A customer at a McDonald's restaurant in Toronto captured video when a curious and presumably hungry raccoon wandered into the eatery. The video posted to TikTok by user at Krinosek, Krinousec, shows the raccoon calmly wandering into the inside. I wouldn't say calmly.
I mean, he was sauntering a little bit.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a swagger.
Yeah, he's like, are you going to eat those fries?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of polite. I think he was like, fries? Huh? Yeah, I think he had a little bit of an attitude.
Give me your fries.
Yeah, what's up with them fries? Shows the raccoon let's just say, demanding fries around the inside of the Scarborough area McDonald's while customers looked in horror shock, peeing their pants, defecating themselves. Okay, it was just surprise and amusement. We'll put it that way. But I would like to think that they were soiling themselves. Horror. Yeah, in horror. Soiling themselves in horror, Jess. At this raccoon.
Did when you showed it to me.
Well, there you go. See?
I am soiled.
Yep. One man was so terrified, he looked at the raccoon and said, "You like my shoes?" Yep. The animal then turns its attention to a jacket on the seat. My guess is to go through his wallet.
Probably. Rifle through there, see what he can find.
That's right.
Loose change.
Yeah. The guy there claimed it was because he had a faux fur liner on its hood.
He thought it was his mother.
Yeah. He's like, Mom, I will avenge you. Yeah. The man then said, "Oh, that's for my son. Come on over here. He'll make you into a coonskin cap." The man then continued to film as the raccoon wandered through the restaurant and attempts to evade an employee trying to lead it to the door with a broom.
Gently.
Oh, they're trying to beat the guy up with a broom. This is when the raccoon then put one of the knives in the back into his teeth and vowed to avenge all raccoons everywhere while gathering up rations for his crew. I just want to make it a revenge story for the raccoon.
A la furry vengeance.
That's right. Viva la raccoon! Because he's somewhere near French Canada, I got to think. It's Toronto. It's close. The TikTok user said McDonald's employees tried using chicken nuggets to lure the trash panda to the exit, but he didn't fall for it because he's got taste.
It's not even real chicken.
That's right. And that's what the raccoon said, too. I'm just saying. He said that's not even real food. Go get me a quarter pounder, you mook. You jabron. Go get me something that's real food. Take a Happy Meal. I better get a toy. That's what he told him.
That's right.
Yeah, because even raccoons like toys. And finally, Jess, a monkey gang is terrorizing a town as they jump kick a woman to the ground and run off with her food. Now that's the Planet of the Apes coming to life right here.
That is scary.
See? Told you we were going to end on a terrifying note today. First, it's the raccoons overrunning the McDonald's. Then it's the monkeys jump kicking people and taking their food.
Yeah, a monkey will rip your face off.
That's rumors. That's just bad press. It's bad press.
What happens?
It's bad press, Jess. That's all it is. Somebody got a hold of a little bit of an exaggerated story. A monkey went to kiss somebody on the lips, and they just accidentally grabbed the ears real hard, and a little blood behind the ear. That's all it was.
Ripped the whole face off.
No, they didn't even come close. It was just some baby. Some baby couldn't handle the strength they grabbed their ears by. That's all it was.
Well, they'll definitely throw poop at you. I know that for a fact.
It was just mud clumps. See, you're buying into the hype.
You're making all these excuses for this monkey for.
Yeah, you're buying the hype. I'm gonna become a political spin master after I'm done with this show. That's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna represent the monkey gang. They're gonna have their own political party when they take over the earth.
Well, you're going to be on the right side.
I will.
Because they will destroy us by throwing poop at us and ripping our faces off.
No. Mud clumps and passionate kisses. That's all it is. They'll just want to kiss your babies. That's what it'll be. Just passionate kisses. So a woman was severely injured by macaques in Lopburi province in the central region of Thailand. Oh, see, it was innocent. See?
I don't think so.
No. And suffered a dislocated knee and hip injuries. Because she couldn't take it. She couldn't just give the kisses back, Jess. That's what it was. After being attacked by 2 monkeys as she made her way home from a market. Well, see, that's because she didn't share the food.
There was 2 of them?
Well, you got to give
monkey trouble.
You got to give a banana to each.
It's true.
You got to pay the tithe to the monkey.
You should share.
Yeah. See, the monkey gang will come by and ask for, a small pittance. It's part of the insurance. You pay the monkey gang so you don't get rolled. You got to pay the monkey
Makes
gang.
sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
A woman who was left with severe injuries from a monkey attack has described how the primate gang jump kicked her to the ground. First of all, it's just patting you with their foot hand, and it's meant with love. You got to know that. And she claims they ran off with her food. First of all, if you don't offer a little tithe, to the monkey gang, they're going to take it all. So
fair enough.
You just go in the bag, just offer them something quick. Just say, monkey gang, here you go. Otherwise, you're going to get it. The victim, which was a 36-year-old woman, young enough not to know better, still too old to care or something like that, suffered a dislocated knee and hip injuries after being attacked by 2 primates as she made her way home from a market in Lopburi province in the central region of Thailand. She was attacked in an area where primates rule the streets and aggressively attack people for food. That's what Pattaya Mail reported. Those monkey racists. I don't know. Phuket News, or as the monkeys know it, Fuck It News, added that people in the area in the Muang district are terrorized by monkey gangs. The monkey gangs, along with Uri Geller, their spokesperson, said, that's bullshit, bullshit, bullshit.
And we've come full circle.
And we have, haven't we? I brought it all the way around from the beginning of the program. The woman, who's named as Arikanta Kachanasanmetha, say that 10 times fast, said, I was about to get in my car and all of a sudden I found myself lying on the street. I told my brother that I fell down and could not get up. She then reached for her medical alert bracelet and nobody answered. It transpired that she dislocated her left knee and suffered bruising to one of her hips. Miss Arikanta's brother called for swift action to tackle the problems of macaques terrorizing city residents. As his sister went to police over the matter, a press conference was called at City Hall by the macaques, and they went on to say this, Jess.
Bullshit.
I don't know what that means. How come we have reached the point of registering a complaint with monkeys involved? Her younger brother wrote on his Facebook. Probably because the monkeys are paying off City Hall. Probably. I don't know. She requested that authorities formally register her complaint so that she would have an official document to use in her request for medical cost reimbursement. That according to the Bangkok Post. By the way, if you're banging your cock on a post, you probably got issues. Just saying. It comes as Thailand has set out plans to hand victims up to 30,000 baht for medical expenses. That, by the way, that's 660 pounds to you and I, or just about $700. With an additional 300 baht, or $6.60 per day. It's pretty expensive over there. For up to 180 days if they're unable to work due to injuries. If someone dies after an attack, families are entitled to compensation of up to 100,000 baht, or 2,200 pounds per day. Doctors recommended the woman rest for 15 days for recovery. This period of convalescence would mean that she would be handed around 99 pounds, around the average of half of a monthly salary in Thailand. Now, I'll tell you this much. Monkeys aren't making that much bananas over there. That's for sure. Asked comment, the monkeys say, well, if you cough up your tithing next time, we wouldn't rough you up. So, hey, take it as it were.
You've been warned.
Yeah, you've been warned. Next time we won't have to stomp you down on the street. Take it up with Yuri. Just saying.
That was a good one.
Yeah. So, Planet of the Apes is here, kids. It's either AI Planet of the Apes or little pink porky pie ponies. Either way, they're all out to get you.
Oh, I'm going to take my chances on the pony.
Yeah, me too. I'll take the laughing pony in an asylum any day. Who actually gets frightened by that?
What was her name? Abby?
Gabby. Yeah.
Gabby.
Gabby.
Oh, so
yeah. Jesus. All right. Jess, what you got going on?
Oh, same old. Locking myself away, writing some books. Got a couple coming out in the fall. So some good old ghost stories and monster tales.
Promise me one of the monster tales is the haunting of the little pink pony.
I mean, it has to be.
Okay, please, please. Grab Gabby, write that sumbitch, and put it as the last chapter in the Monster Tales book, please.
Dedicated to Timmy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We have a link to Jessica's website in the description of this program, so you can keep up on the 2 books she has coming up this fall. We'll have her back on the program, of course, before this next fall. But we'll have her on to promote both those books. So
that would be a blast.
There you go. There you go. I am not at KNSI Radio this next Saturday, so don't sweat it, folks. But the Saturday after, I'll be up there, and you can hear me do different things like weather, sports, monkey assault programming, I don't know, stuff like that. We'll tell you where the monkeys are beating people up in St. Cloud for their food. Stuff like that. So that's what we'll do next time on up in KNSI country. That'll do it for the big program. Tomorrow on the big show, Jess, I promised you that we have a documentary that we're going to be talking about on the big show for tomorrow's program. On the big show tomorrow, we have Derek Hayes and David Flora on the show. They will be here to talk about, of all things, their brand new documentary. And it is put out by the folks from Small Town Monsters. Now, the documentary is called Shadows in the Desert, High Strangeness in the Borrego Triangle, is going to cover some interesting topics. It's going to be covering, and you may know Derek Hayes from shows like Paranormal Caught on Camera. You've seen him there. He's been on the Travel Channel series In Search of Monsters and spoken on panels at Alien Con, Cryptid Con, and many others. David Flora has also been on the trivia podcast Quiz Bang Bang and on the paranormal podcast Hysteria 51. They've put together a film that is, put it this way, going to chill you when it comes to searching for the strange and unusual. But this documentary from Small Town Monsters, Shadows in the Desert, High Strangeness in the Borrego Triangle, is an amazing documentary. Something you're not going to want to miss. We're going to talk about it tomorrow, right here on the program. And we'll get into it a little bit more in depth. Again, I love these cryptid and paranormal documentaries, Jess, because they're really something else. I don't want to spoil too much for tomorrow's episode, just that we're really going to get into the film and really get into what it is that these two guys have captured out there. So
I'm excited.
High strangeness, a lot of different things going out there. Cryptids, maybe some UFO activity. We'll see you tomorrow. So not gonna spoil too much for you here.
Good teaser.
Yeah, so we're gonna let you know tomorrow on tomorrow's show. So there you go. The guests tomorrow, as I said, David Flora and Derek Hayes. So two well-known researchers, and Small Town Monsters always comes out with some great documentaries. So That's coming up tomorrow on the big program. So for Jessica Freeburg, I'm Tim Dennis. Join us tomorrow for more on the best in paranormal programming. This is Darkness Radio.